In an Iceland of always winter and snow, there bears a village of people on a round piece of land called Penumbrana. Here is the only place I've known, as I wake just one day before Christmas. The only cold comes upon me. At 18, it is customary to still have a room filled with bunkmates. Friends whom I've grown up with all know that it is possible to still maintain some share of privacy and respect. Sienna, hurry up and finish so we can go next. A familiar male voice shouts to fully wake me. Our only brief moments of privacy is when we use one of the 3 washrooms available on the 2nd floor. I leave my bed with the long-sleeved gray undergarment dress that I've always slept in. 10 more people will be vying for one of these bathrooms pretty soon. I think as I quickly exchange one slip for a warmer one and put on my regular clothing of a gray dress on top. My light glove slips over my hand and the matching wool cape comes over me as well. This is the uniform for women on the 2nd floor of the ice castle. Men wear similar concoctions, but with pants. As I move down the 1st floor to receive a package of well-cooked meals for my floor mates, I'm grateful for the faint heat that my floor provides. 1st floor inhabitants are responsible for the dealings with the outside. They are the largest floor and receive the least here of all. The people of this tier do not know what it is like to sleep in any beds. The space is far too cramped for that. A man dressed in all black uniform of the 1st floor inhabitants rushes in after disposing of the undesirable materials. And that brief encounter with the outdoors the man had was enough to leave him shivering nearly uncontrollably upon entering. I remember every time just how my life would have been different had I been born on the 1st floor. "Hello, sir," I say as I retrieve the package I'm responsible for. He simply smiles, bows his head, and carries on. Managing the schedules for each other to ensure that we are all able to get our needs met and keep clean can be very frustrating. Fraternizing with the other tiers of floors are greatly discouraged outside the subject of work. I understand why the man cannot speak to me, but I'm one of the few that make the extra effort in conversing with others of a different standing than me. As I make my way back up the stairs of the castle, I slide a pair of gloves that I had sewn for the man I had spoken with earlier to see. I had noticed how thin his gloves had gotten from the last time it was my turn to go downstairs to the 1st floor. I made it a point to find a gift for Christmas for someone. Christmas was the one time a year that I went out of my way to make sure I gave thanks to as many people as I could, because it was the only time everyone was looking forward to the same thing. Christmas was the only time the sun fully came out and experienced warmth. That was the only time the 2nd and 3rd floors could dance outside all day. The only issue was that the night before was usually when those casted out of the ice castle would freeze to death for their crimes. There are stories that said that the criminals may not have even made it through the whole night. Some 1st floor residents closest to the outside doors claim that they tend to hear a loud growl of an animal, none of any other beast that they have ever heard. Then there will be screams of those outside for only a few seconds, with complete silence afterwards. Many of those chosen criminals are picked from the 2nd and 1st floors, and the rest are gleeful to live another year. I put a cheerful face on and hold in a quick breath with the release. There is no way to give up confidence. I won't, and I won't allow others around me to make the same mistake and accept defeat. Get up, Laura. You can't sleep the day away, I say as I pull the covers from her head. Cheerfulness is for Christmas Day, not the day before, Sienna. She groggily gets up from bed and throws a pillow at me. We are all in each other's prayers. Let's make the best of what we have. She looks me in the eye intently, then softens. I know I've gotten through to her, and the warmth in our hearts inspire us to continue on with our chores. Sweeping and dusting as I gently glide around, my dark curly hair bounces all over me. I pass through the 2 other rooms on the 2nd floor and twirl once more before an abrupt stop. There stands in front of the door a woman from the 3rd floor named Antonia. She wears a beautiful neck-to-floor-length dress with bright stitching of leaves. You there. I will need your help with stitching for tonight's ball, she said as she points to me. 3rd floor residents do not join us outside on Christmas Day, so they have their shindig the night before. The sun fully coming out is not of extreme importance to them. The 3rd floor is greatly exposed to the little bit of sun that comes out year-round. They feel all the warmth and heat to allow them comfort and light. Antonia turns around with a small amount of red hair falling down from her bun. As we move past the doors leading us from the 2nd floor, we take the long walk up to the 3rd. She stays a couple of steps ahead of me. Grace, she sure did not have a year earlier. We reach the living quarters that she appears to be sharing with another. The place is filled with beautiful, bright decorations. Gold-colored cushions were on the floor close to the dress she wanted to stitch. Where would you want me to fix, madame? I ask, only staring at the dress laid on the couch. There's no one here. We can speak normally, Sienna. That was an entirely different tone from what I was used to hearing since she was voted into society, the 3rd floor. If those on the 2nd floor are able to gain favor and fondness with the society members, you could get enough votes to eventually be accepted into the 3rd floor the night before Christmas. She was voted in last Christmas Eve. She was very skilled in her abilities to serve the 3rd floor inhabitants and dazzle them with her personality. Many must have enjoyed being around her. This is how she was probably chosen in. Space in society is limited and is usually only opened up when someone dies and there are not enough people around to replace them. I went looking for you earlier, Sienna. Why did it take you so long to come back to your floor? Unsure on how truthful to answer, I remained silent. Don't tell me you are doing another good deed for 1st floor, Sienna. I never said anything, Antonia. In the 3 times I saw you this year, you didn't seem to be interested in speaking to any of our old friends from your old floor. You only come to command us to do things. I forgot you remembered anything that I once did. I remember everything that happened on the 2nd floor. She steps closer with her arms folded. I also remember that you always wanted me to join in with giving more food to floor 1 on Christmas Eve. That's what both our parents did, Antonia. What's wrong with that? I picture Antonia assisting our parents in our much younger years, crafting shoes for others, donating extra food, and caring for those most of need. That is usually the 1st floor. Both our parents were thrown out on Christmas Eve for getting themselves caught up in helping someone on the floor beneath them for one reason or another. I learned something from that. I hope you would too. She was right. We had both lost our parents by our 10th birthday. I always thought it was important to keep their lessons alive. She learned to do the opposite. You sure have, I say in a mild voice, never to speak too loudly. I know my rank and where I am. How did you get chosen anyway? We are barely allowed to speak to any people in society. I followed the rules, she said coldly. She too knew to be on her best behavior. She was in a new tier and was considered at the bottom in her position. People of this floor can afford to either have one other roommate or have a whole room to themselves. If our parents' ancestors had followed the rules, we would not have created new ways to complete our chores. This led to the second floor being created. It would have only been first floor in society. Many people now at least have a decent chance at warmth. Well, many things change. The full sun is guaranteed to show itself on every Christmas day. But have you noticed that it has been shining less bright these last couple of years? Our authority has not given even to society as much light as they used to. She whispers this to me. Authority is never seen. They stay behind the frozen doors. Whatever they want to say is done through a note left outside of their doors. The society residents then see it through. It has been this way from the beginning of Penumbrana. No voices come from them, but they command everything. Do you think they've been lying to us? Of course. I suspect the authority may not even be here anymore. Another member from the society enters. My roommate, Antonia, says, "All right, it's best you get back to work," she says to me as she proceeds to walk out of the room. I turn to her and see a small smile leaving her lips. I want to believe that she is sweet and kind, like I've once known her to be. I just don't believe that could ever be. Once my task is finished, I then went straight down the stairs to floor 2. There is much to do this Christmas Eve. Once I approach the door for the second floor, I hear loud voices. They're very angry voices. When I enter, there are multiple guards dressed in their uniforms of all red, green, and yellow. They are also from society. "All right, everybody, get in 2 straight lines. You know how this goes," the red guard says. I run to stand in one of those lines. The yellow guard pulls out a scroll and begins to read the names on the list. I close my eyes and hold in as much hope as I possibly do. My hands squeeze, and those who are on both sides of me feel the warmth from my hands. The warmth passed in our hands is enough to help calm each other. And then the green guard begins to use his green baton to beat the names of those who are on the list. They collect the people on their list very quickly in the hall. The guards take their now prisoners to the first floor to continue to collect others on their list. We quickly scatter back into our rooms, and my roommates huddled around each other in tears. A few of our friends were taken. Maybe some I wasn't really close with, but it didn't hurt any less. Some of those people may have been not as skilled at their tasks or accused of doing something to offend those in society. Whatever the reasons were, those in society made note and put their names on the list for the end of the year. We all hugged and held one another in our room to comfort ourselves from the near-death experience. For the first time, I felt small. Whatever light within me was dim. This was not something I was used to. But with every year, I feel less hope, and this time I was feeling a significant decrease in hope. "Guys, I have to go to the first floor." The guards would have thrown them out to the cold and gone back to society by now. "Will you guys come back with me?" Others in the room look at me with blank stares. A man I had just held hands with began to speak. "Child, when are you going to give it up? You can't keep helping others like how you've always done. It's not worth it anymore. We won't continue to survive if we don't help our friends. Only together we can make a change." My eyes still tears from the friends we have all left tonight, but I refuse to let them fall. "All right, I'll go alone." This would be the first Christmas Eve ever where I would have had to give food to those banished to the outside alone. I put on my coat and head out. In the hallway, where I once stood moments ago fearing for my life, now this moment will be peace. I begin to sing my song to allow those of first floor and those outside to know that I'm coming as I near them. The song is of the cold of winter, the spirit of Christmas to put joy and warmth in all of those stomachs for the long night. Now on the first floor, many lay asleep. The extra pieces of food that I had hid away are now put on a tray to carry to the door. With the door left slightly ajar, I slide out one piece of food. My gloves touch another glove. I slide another and another. All say thank you. Is that all? I softly call. No, a young man says. Are you Sienna? I guess I shouldn't be too shocked that someone knew my name, but still, I had never heard this voice before. Yes, why do you ask? The other said that you would be the one to count on for the long night. I heard you singing earlier. It's nice to meet you, he says with firm confidence. He sounded handsome. Not sure how I knew that, I just knew it. Well, I'm sorry we won't be meeting in person again, I say sullenly. I'm sorry too. Would you mind telling me your Christmas wish though? I was interested in hearing one other than, I wish I didn't have to freeze to death. I chuckled, then quickly stopped. Don't worry, I'm not offended. We should laugh on my last night. Fine. I'll tell you my wish. I wish everyone could join society. No more yearly sacrifices to create space. It just isn't right. I would give anything to change that. Oh, really? He speaks in a deep voice. What if you could be the only one to enter society, Sienna? Would that be enough? No. Once I said it, there was now silence. I leaned closer to the slit of the door. We would not be able to fully see each other's faces, only a small slither. Once my face reached the door, all I saw were bright, emerald green eyes. In shock, I shut the door. My heart races. What in the world could that have been? In a haste, I run back to my floor. As I'm about to open the door to my room, guards come rushing down the steps from third floor. All of a sudden, I felt numb. Sienna, you have been voted into society. You will attend the ball tonight, the guard in green says. He knows me. Many times I had been fetched to run errands in which he had escorted me. This was the first time he's ever been rough in his approach. With my mouth still open, he gives me a note with my name on it. I look up in confusion. This note is from authority. Both of the guards quickly grab each arm and begin to walk me up the long stairs. Once we reach the top, they take me to a room that is next to Antonia's. The room has a big living room space. It does not appear to be another resident in the area. Give me your left arm, the green guard says. He picks it up and tattoos a third strike on my arm next to the two that were put on there when I was born. Could it really be that I have been chosen to stay on the third floor? I would be expected to scream, but nothing comes out. They soon leave and close the door behind them. I turn around and there is a beautiful gray metallic sparkling dress and a hanger for me. I touched the dress and couldn't believe that I would be expected to wear it. I began to hum as I put it on and held tight the little bit of hope still within. In walking down the long hall to the ball, I think to myself about the people I will finally meet. Workers from second floor have decorated everything for the event and have met some of the third floor inhabitants, but none of us have ever seen what goes on at the yearly ball. This would also be my first time interacting with third floorers as an equal. I wonder what that will be like. At the top of the staircase, I enter the room. No one looks at my direction. I walk into the hall and move past the hordes of foods and drinks around. Many are talking and laughing. The first thing that grabs my attention are the large ice double doors at the front of the room. Could the authority be making an appearance tonight? Never have the authority written a name for society. That is usually made through the members of the third floor. And it honestly only happens once in a generation. I'm sure everyone must be wondering. I mindlessly begin to make my way to the doors in the front. I don't know why, but I believe I can open it. No one has seen the doors open, and no one has been able to open it before. But those gates must have something to do with me. Sienna! I turn when there is a tap on my shoulder. Antonia stands with a champagne glass in her hand. Why are you here? And how are you allowed to dress like that? It only takes a moment longer before her eyes comes to realize the answer. The authority gave me a single vote. That's all was needed since it came from the source. She was still speechless as I spoke, but I know she was still wondering how and why. Something else seemed to be up. Okay, just be careful and think about yourself. None of that helping business you did on the second floor. I mean it, Sienna. We're individuals here, and no one can afford to be attached to something that's trouble. She nods, then walks away. As I turn back to my destination for the doors, a young man dressed in a white suit and tie comes through the crowd. Everyone looks at him as he makes his way to me. I stop short of breath when he opens his mouth to speak to me. Hello. Someone pointed you out as being the newest to join us tonight. His bright green eyes strike me. His voice sounds as if it was something I had just heard. His dark black hair gave a striking look. I'm sure everyone will know I'm new here. My name is Sienna. What is yours? I try to not let my voice shake out of nervousness. My name is London. He puts his hand out. You care to dance? Without answering, I take his hand and move my feet to the tune that plays with him. I feel like we've met, although I don't know how that would be possible. There is no way third floors would be conversing with second floor residents if it weren't for orders. I wonder as he twirls me around. Perhaps we have, but I have heard many things about you, like how you're kind, helpful, a true light that helps the fires burn for warmth on your floor. He laughs as he now looks into my eyes. I take a small gulp. What could he be talking about? This is exactly something that I should not be known for. Those who ruled Penumbrana wants everyone to stay mindless and only work with others to complete tasks. They prefer a cold way of being. This way, we can all be reminded of the small resources that need to be preserved. An unconcerned, cheerful style would lead to gluttony. Third floor residents could not have the other floors doing that. Don't worry. I know that was a secret, so I'll tell you mine. I come home for Christmas Eve and day. He whispers into my ears. I'm confused. No one leaves this castle unless on Christmas Day, or to quickly make their way in and out throughout the year. Where could he be leading with this? He's very smug and he knows it. What is your wish, Sienna? Tell the authority. A new rule awaits. He spins me around, and once I open my eyes, he is gone. Everyone has long gone back to their own conversation. I know him, I thought, but that is not possible because what I saw earlier tonight was a monster. The night was almost up, and midnight were strokes away. My gaze goes back to the double-iced doors of the authority. On my way up, I glance to see the stroke of midnight. Now in the middle of the room, we all look up to see if the sun will show itself this year. Antonia was right. It had been dimmer and not as warm the past few years. Nothing shows. A middle-aged man dressed in a flamboyant suit makes his way to the front of the room and says, "I knew it! We must begin the greater sacrifices. Sacrificing the first floors have no longer been enough. It has to be the third floors this time." "What?" I say to myself. Everyone immediately looks to me. Oh wow, I'm the last here and the first to go. He speaks again. "An addition to the third floor in one generation is already strange. That must be a sign that she must have been chosen for a sacrifice." The whole crowd cheers and I'm suddenly surrounded. Before I know it, I'm lifted up. I see Antonia trying to keep her head down. The crowd takes me outside in a haste. I am pushed to the ground with the doors quickly shut. It's happening. I'm finally going to be frozen out. Maybe worse, I'll be eaten. I have seen the monster for itself already. Nothing but shivers pass through me as I stand outside alone. Those who had been banished outside have been frozen and perhaps some eaten. There is no light left within me. Everything I've always known was a lie. I feel that crippling truth more than ever. "Sienna, your light mustn't dim. You haven't gotten your Christmas wish yet." I hear the voice of Lyndon coming from the dark shadows of the trees ahead of me. "Lyndon, what are you doing here?" This all feels so scary and chilling. "I'm here to fulfill your Christmas wish. My father left me in charge of Penumbrana this past year. I've been observing the exact things that must change to make it better. He's off exploring new skies. I sense the warmth in everyone. Yours bears the most heat. Now it's nearly gone." "Are you saying your authority? You must have also been that boy I was talking to before the ball. But how can that be?" I shiver and hope for this moment to end, but I fall in complete acceptance. "Yes to everything you've asked, Sienna. Come closer, and you will see for yourself." His voice is lower than earlier tonight, but still playful. What do I have to lose? I think, and make my way closer. As I come closer to the shadows, I see the same bulging green eyes from before. I hold my breath, not running off like the last time. Pretty soon, a large monstrous mouth and sharp teeth appear. I am shoved to the ground and above me appears a dragon. The beast is truly Lyndon. Before a proper scream can come out, the dragon flies away from me and towards the castle. With the full-blown fire that he breathes out, he burns the roof of the castle. Before I know it, the dragon is inside. Everyone evacuates the building in a haste. The dragon then zooms out into the sky and releases a ray of fire. The sky lights up and there is great heat felt among us. The dragon disappears into the sky, but we feel the full sun and brightness we had many years ago. Could it be that there was a dragon lighting up the sky? Once all is calm, the dragon then touches ground, making a big dent into the earth. We all marvel and stay far away from it. Lyndon, however, looks at me. Everyone follows his stare. I see as he materializes back into the human with his suit from the night before. It can't be. He's been our authority all along. Someone from the crowd is quick to shout. Lennon gives me his hand and I take it and come close to him. Now in my ruffled and muddled dress, we stand before all floors of people. The sky is bright and heat is abundant. I am prince of these skies and your authority. Due to the Christmas wish of Sienna, there will be no longer any separation of floors. We will be one and give to one another. This is something that I have learned. But I have one Christmas wish to make. He turns to me and asks, "Will you be my princess of these skies and help me rule it? You know all that needs changing and everyone so well. There'll be no one better." I look across the crowds. Everyone stares in disbelief of all that has happened in these brief moments. Among the crowd, I spot Antonia. She stares at me with regret. But there is no malice in my heart for her. That isn't my way. I want what is best for my people, and so I shall accept. With a nod to Prince London, he receives my answer. "We can seal it with a kiss. Is that not how it is done?" I whisper my question. He bends close to me, and I close my eyes. Just as I sense his breath, he breathes warm air on me. Upon opening my eyes, he says, "I will be here year-round. That will also mean that I will supply you the light and heat for all." Everyone cheers in excitement and begins to move about in celebration. Well, as princess, I now have another Christmas wish, I smirk. He stares at me in confusion for a moment and then guesses my desire. Lennon steps a while back and then explodes into the dragon, and I gleefully mount onto his back. He takes me above into the heavens so far. He breathes continued fire down, and for as long as I like, he becomes my sun, fire, and warmth. You have listened to the original audio story, A Dragon Prince for Christmas, by me, Adeleye Carew. If you would like to purchase a limited edition paperback of this story, follow me at Indiehood on Instagram and leave a comment requesting it underneath the picture. For more of my full-length books, visit Amazon. All links are in the description.